Ever feel like you're working nonstop, saving every month, but your money just doesn't seem to grow? Like you're pushing a huge boulder uphill and it barely moves? That's the story for most people trying to build wealth, until one day everything changes. My name is David, and I spend way too much time thinking about money, stewardship, and how faithful consistency compounds over time. There's this idea that if you just save and invest long enough, eventually your money starts working harder than you do. But what most people don't realize is that this shift doesn't happen all at once. There are actually three key tipping points that completely change your relationship with money. And as Luke 14:28 teaches, suppose one of you wants to build a tower. Won't you first sit down and estimate the cost to see if you have enough money to complete it? Wisdom begins with understanding the journey ahead. Everyone struggles in the early stages because the returns feel tiny while the effort feels enormous. You're cutting expenses, investing diligently, and in return you're earning what feels like peanuts. That $10,000 portfolio grows 7%, and you're looking at just $700. It barely feels like progress because you're still carrying most of the weight. You're the engine. The portfolio is just along for the ride. But if you stay faithful and keep at it, something incredible starts to happen. Your money begins to take over, and that shift happens in stages. First tipping point. The first tipping point is when your investments earn more in a typical year than you contribute. Early on, almost all growth comes from your deposits. You're putting in $500 a month, but a 10% return on $10,000 is only $1,000. You added more than the market did. Fast forward, your portfolio hits $100,000. Now that same 10% return brings $10,000 of growth, far more than your $6,000 annual contribution. Your money has officially outperformed you. The engine is no longer running only on your fuel. Second tipping point. The second tipping point is even more powerful. It's when your investments earn as much as your actual job pays. If you make $50,000 a year and your $500,000 portfolio grows 10%, that's another $50,000. You've cloned your income. You now have a silent coworker working for you, without the stress, meetings, or commute. And every year after, that second you gets a raise. This changes everything. The fear of losing your job loses its grip. You can negotiate harder, take time off, or even walk away from toxic work because your investments have your back. Third tipping point. The third tipping point is true financial independence. When your portfolio is large enough to support a 4% withdrawal rate without touching the principal. At $1,250,000, 4% safely gives you $50,000 per year. Your money can now replace your full-time job. You wake up and choose what to do with your day, not because you have to, but because you want to. Proverbs 21:20 says, "The wise store up choice food and olive oil, but fools gulp theirs down." The early years feel slow on purpose. The first $100,000 is the hardest, like laying the foundation before the building rises. Most people quit before they see the math turn in their favor. But once you pass that point, compounding accelerates. At $100,000, a 10% return is $10,000. At $200,000, it's $20,000. At $500,000, it's $50,000. The growth becomes exponential. 1 Timothy 6:6 reminds us, "But godliness with contentment is great gain." These tipping points aren't just about money. They're about freedom. The freedom to say no without fear, to work from calling instead of necessity, and to live with margin for generosity and rest. You'll face market dips, job changes, emergencies, and doubts. But if you stay disciplined and invested, you will reach the point where your money does the heavy lifting. Philippians 4:11-13 teaches us to learn contentment in any situation, knowing we can do all things through Christ who strengthens us. The real reward isn't just the numbers. It's the freedom and peace that come from faithful stewardship. Some reach these points in their 30s, others in their 50s or 60s. The exact timing isn't what matters. What matters is staying in the game long enough for God's principles of sowing and reaping to take effect. So if you're still in the slow climb, still pushing that boulder uphill, don't stop. The struggle doesn't last forever. Eventually, you'll stop pushing and start watching momentum build. Your tipping point is coming. Stay faithful. The math and the Lord rewards consistency. If this encouraged you in your wealth building journey, hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Drop a comment. Which tipping point are you closest to right now? And what's one step you're taking this month? May the Lord give you wisdom, patience, discipline, and provision as you steward what He's entrusted to you. Shalom.